liking and sharing the show. We had I would say this is some pretty impactful news mentioned in passing on Real Talk with Keith Smith this morning. We had Supervisor Ned Galloway and Supervisor Chris Fairchild. Mr. Galloway, of course, of Albemarle County, and Fairchild, of course, of Fluvanna County. It was a fascinating discussion with two individuals, two gentlemen that I admire. But over the course of the conversation, Home Depot news came up. Home Depot is not just opening a hardware store, guys, where Fashion Square Mall used to be. They own most of Fashion Square Mall except for the J.C. Penney, which is owned by a local developer and real estate magnate Richard Hewitt, and Belk is owned by Belk Corporate. We're going to talk how close Home Depot is from coming online with the words directly from Supervisor Ned Galloway of the Rio District, where this respective location is located in his district. So giddy up and get ready on that. I want to talk on today's show. You got I Love CVille Food up and running. That's great. Albemarle County teachers and students are overwhelmingly voting in favor of school resource officers in the school, police in the school. This, according to a survey and results that were recently made known to us. We'll highlight those survey results on today's program. We'll highlight the fact that the Board of Visitors is pushing back on tuition increases. Thank God. I mean, eventually, you keep raising tuition, and the University of Virginia, a public university, is just going to be unaffordable for folks to attend. We'll talk about that on today's program. Like the show, share the show. We work hard for you. We're going to ask Ryan Odom. Is Ryan Odom, ladies and gentlemen, the next head coach of Virginia basketball? A lot of people, a lot of insiders are telling us it's Ryan Odom. A lot I want to cover on the program. Judah, we're looking good on my Facebook page. We're looking good on I Love CVille Facebook page. We're looking good on the I Love CVille Food Facebook page. What do you think the combined followership for I Love CVille Facebook, Judah, I Love CVille Group Facebook, I Love CVille Food Facebook, and my Facebook is? Just those 4 Facebook pages, which this show streams upon. Tell me. What do you think? Nearly 30,000 people followed those 4 pages.
Wow.
My Facebook, the I Love CVille Group, the I Love CVille Food, and the I Love CVille Facebook page. Nearly 30,000 just on those 4 Facebook pages. We're also streaming to 11 other Facebook pages, guys, to LinkedIn, to iTunes, to Apple Podcasts, YouTube, 15 Twitter accounts, the Fountain app, the Rumble app, a lot we're going to cover on the program. Which headline most intrigues you, Judah B. Wickhauer? Jack of all trades, jack of all wits.
I mean, I'm excited to see the entire area get some redevelopment and start looking like someplace people actually want to visit and not just speed past.
Including one of your favorite former stopping grounds, if memory serves correct, the Wickhauer family loves the Red Lobster cheesy biscuits.
Well, that doesn't mean we're getting another Red Lobster, does it?
No,
it would be nice.
It does not mean that. It does
whoever
not mean that.
Whoever moves in.
Nor
there.
are we getting an Olive Garden, nor are we getting a Crackle Barrel, and nor are we getting an Ethiopian restaurant.
Oh man, you're making a lot of people cry, Jerry.
There's a fantasy for an Ethiopian restaurant in this community. Just don't see it happening. All right, Judah Wickhauer, we can rock and roll when you are ready, sir.
Quiet on the set.
Good Friday afternoon, guys. I'm Jerry Miller, and thank you kindly for joining us on our flagship show. It's the I Love CVille show here on the I Love CVille network. It's a pleasure to connect with you guys on what has been a very busy week for our team, our studio, and our building in downtown Charlottesville. Deals are materializing and closing. The news continues to percolate and escalate, and we do our best to stay at the forefront of the deal flow and of the pulse of the community. I think this show embodies that in a lot of ways. What we try to do with the I Love CVille show is we accumulate information, whether it's the business community, politics, nonprofits, sports, development, the economy, and real estate. And we make notes of what's going on, and then we pass that information on to you. I think we did that yesterday with Dr. Daniel Halpert, Judah. Dr. Halpert is the visionary businessman behind Coco's. Is it Coco's Adventure Park?
That's almost it. I think it's Coco's Adventure
Center. Oh, we talked about it yesterday. It is Coco's Adventure Factory.
There you go.
And that's going to open early next year. If you didn't have a chance to listen to a man who's putting millions of dollars on the line, literally millions of dollars on the line, and signing a 10-year lease, personally guaranteed 10-year lease that's collateralized by real estate that he owns. He said on yesterday's interview, his insurance overhead alone for Coco's Adventure Factory, which is going to be an indoor family fun park. It's going to have trampolines and an arcade and bumper cars and slides with LED lights and zip lines and Ninja Warrior courses and rooms to rent out for birthdays and a cafe and an adult lounge. I mean, this is the 2025 version of Dave & Buster's and Chuck E. Cheese and a theme park and Planet Fun that used to be on Berkmar Drive, 20 years ago here in Albemarle County. He has got so much on the line for this business he's going to bring to market early 2026, but he was cooler than the other side of the pillow, in the words of the late, great Stuart Scott. I was very impressed with Dr. Daniel Halpern, the serial entrepreneur. That interview on ilovecville.com or wherever you get your podcasting content. Today's program is going to offer you more breaking news. We had Supervisor Ned Galloway on Real Talk with Keith Smith this morning, and he offered perspective on Home Depot and its pursuit of a flagship store in Albemarle County in the old Fashion Square Mall location. He offered us a timeline of what's coming and shared other perspective. And this is from a man who's an Albemarle County Board of Supervisor and whose district, the Rio District, is exactly where the development is happening. So he knows this project better than just about anybody, folks. This is why we elected him into office. We're going to relay that information to you on the I Love CVille show. Also on today's program, we're going to talk about Albemarle High School. Teachers, Judah, and students at Albemarle High School during a trial phase of school resource officers in the hallway, police officers in the hallway at the largest high school in Central Virginia, Albemarle High School. They, in overwhelming capacity, voted in a survey, and 85% responded favorably, students and teachers, that police officer in the school, in the hallway, was something that should be done by Albemarle County Public Schools. 85% said it was a positive experience for them to have a police officer in the hallway at the largest school in Central Virginia. I want to talk about that on today's program, and I want to say, isn't it about damn time we get the school resource officers back into the hallways of middle schools and high schools across the entire region? Isn't it about damn time we start ignoring the noise from the activists who say that police officers create a pipeline to prison for students? And isn't it about damn time that we return these officers that are not just about law and order, but are at a sounding board, a voice of reason, someone to look up to for many of the middle school and high school students in the area? I mean, heck, earlier today, there was a bomb threat, Judah. There was literally a bomb threat in our community. Did you see that news? Let's weave Judah Wickhauer into the program. Judah Wickhauer, the director and producer of this fine and fair talk show. Burley Middle School was on lockdown today, literally this morning.
Wow.
Because of a bomb threat. The students at Burley Middle School were bused to Monticello High School.
Wow.
So that the Albemarle County Police Department could search for suspicious activity or suspicious bomb materials within Burley Middle. The students were legitimately outside on an athletic field just waiting to get clearance to return back to their classrooms, to their hallways, to their cafeterias.
I've been there.
Is it not about damn time we get the school resource officers back into the hallways? We'll talk about that today. We're going to talk on this program experiential businesses that are needed for the community. We got 3 coming, and they're coming within the next year. We got Mike and Jessica Kinnick with Rock Revolution, a bouldering, rock climbing gym on Old Ivy Road where the Pure Bar exercise studio used to be, kind of across the street from Davenport Field, from the Dish. That's going to be opening in the very near future. That's an experiential business that's coming to our community. We have CVille Smash, an indoor pickleball concept. Friends of the program, Colleen Cheer, Lauren, Chris Crater, they're going to open this in the old Marshall's location at Seminole Square Shopping Center. We just chatted and are very much getting to know Dr. Daniel Halpert, who's opening Coco's Adventure Factory in the old Big Lots location. That's 3 experiential businesses within the next 10 months that are opening in Charlottesville or Albemarle County. I'm going to ask you, the viewer and listener, I'm going to ask you, Judah B. Whitcower, what other experiential businesses should open in Albemarle County or in Charlottesville? What other buildings, office, commercial, retail, can we convert into experiential businesses, experiential offerings that cannot be cannibalized by the internet? Can't play pickleball on Amazon. Can't go bouldering and rock climbing on Amazon. You can't go on a zip line or a Ninja Warrior course, Judah, or a trampoline park on Amazon. What other experiential businesses should open in this community? I want to have that topic and conversation on today's show. I'm going to ask you a very pointed question. And she did a great job developing the site. Her name is Shannon Worrell. Shannon Worrell of the Worrell family locally in this community. You familiar with the surname Judah Worrell? What notable business did the Worrell family used to own in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Central Virginia? They sold it to a major corporate conglomerate who does what a lot of corporate conglomerates do. They suck the life and soul out of the business. That's a huge hint.
Man, that's a tough one. I can think of 1 or 2 businesses, but I can't place the name.
The Worrell family used to own the Charlottesville Daily Progress.
Among
other media outlets, the Worrell family owned the Daily Progress.
Okay.
Shannon, her family, the caretakers of the newspaper, before they sold the newspaper to Media General out of Richmond. Media General I used to work for. First job, I actually took the job before my 3rd year at the University of Virginia. Worked there for years, post-school, part-time, full-time editor, before launching this business, good night, May of 2008. This business is about to celebrate its 17-year anniversary, Judah, on May 29th of this year.
When did the Worrells sell it?
The Worrell, I'd have to find that. That's a great question. Daily Progress, Worrell family. See if we can figure out when that was sold. The newspaper was, when did the Worrell newspapers, if Neil Williamson, if you're watching the program, that'd be a great question. Media General purchased the Daily Progress from the Worrell family. Then they sold it to Warren Buffett's media company. Warren Buffett sold the Daily Progress and a number of other newspapers to Lee Enterprises, the current owners of the Daily Progress. There's 2 media companies that are publicly traded that are.
It was 95.
Worrell family sold it to Media General in 1995?
Yeah.
That makes sense. I started working for Media General in 2002. And when I started working there in 2002, I could already see the slicing and dicing of overhead and just the soul sucking of a publicly traded company here in Charlottesville. There's 2 publicly traded companies that own media brands in the greater Charlottesville area. Do you know what those 2 companies are?
Media General.
Well, no, Media, if you were listening, Media General sold to Buffett Media. Buffett Media sold it to Lee Enterprises. Lee Enterprises owns the Daily Progress and owns the most amount of newspapers in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Gray Media owns NBC 29. Gray Media and Lee Enterprises have one thing in common. They suck the life out of companies, out of brands, out of staff, out of local publications. They slice and dice staff. They give them limited resources, limited reimbursement for mileage, for food. They cut pages out of publications. They cut newscasts. Gray Media, the owner of NBC 29, and Lee Enterprises, the owner of Daily Progress, those two companies are eroding, crushing local news in this market we call Central Virginia, which is 300,000 people strong.
Yeah.
Shannon Worrell, she's tied to the Worrell family who owned the Daily Progress. The last heyday for the Daily Progress was the Worrell family. Ever since the Worrell family exited its position with this brand and publication, the Progress has struggled and deteriorated. She is the developer behind the 10th Street shops, the 10th Street apartments. The initial flagship tenant was our friend of the program, Curtis Shaver. I was texting with him last night. Love Dirty Curtis Shaver. Love that man dearly. His team opened Peloton Station. Yep. Now it's Guajiros. Yep. In that shopping center where Guajiros is currently located, you've had a significant amount of turnover in a very short period of time. In a short period of time, you've seen Peloton become Guajiros. You've seen Mud House close. You've seen the location right next to Mud House. Was that a bakery of some kind? Bowerbird also close in that location. Wow. I'm going to ask you, the viewer and listener, why have the 10th Street shops and that 10th Street development project that Shannon Worrell is the visionary behind, why have they had so much significant turnover despite being in the absolute heart of the city of Charlottesville? We'll have that topic on today's show. I want to talk which shopping and dining district will boom next in the Charlottesville-Albemarle County area. I'll have a little commentary on Ryan Odom, the VCU head coach. By all accounts, Ryan Odom is the next head coach at the University of Virginia, folks. Media insiders are doubling and tripling down on Ryan Odom, who was a ball boy for Terry Allen. Dave Odom, Ryan's father, was an assistant coach in University Hall under Terry Holland. Ryan Odom grew up as a ball boy on the court at University Hall, U-Hall, now torn down, the former site of where Virginia men's basketball played. He also was the head coach of UMBC, who upset the University of Virginia, which was the greatest upset in NCAA tournament history, a 16 over a 1 seed. Is it a full circle moment that Ryan Odom is now going to be the head men's basketball coach potentially at the University of Virginia? Or some people are saying that UVA is settling, that this guy's only won one tournament game, one NCAA tournament game, and that one victory was against UVA with his UMBC team. We'll talk about that today. And I want to highlight a fantastic family in this community. One of their 4 daughters, Belle Dalton, is playing in the U.S. Squash Championship. I want to give a little plug for Belle. Do we have a photo we can put on screen? She's in Philadelphia right now at the Arlen Specter Center, playing in the U.S. Junior Gold Squash Championship. St. Anne's Belfield student, Boar's Head Resort, Boar's Head Squash, MacArthur Squash player, Stephen O'Dwyer, her head coach. Best of luck to Belle. I love seeing locals do big-time things. Locals doing big-time things on a national stage. You kind of were highlighting this. Wasn't there a Charlottesville resident making noise in the White House?
Yeah, there was a Charlottesville resident making noise in the White House. I think there was something about women's sports where they have all the awards. I forget what that was about, but yeah, more recently, it was an 80-year-old man who chained himself up near the White House to protest defunding of the Veteran Affairs Department. I don't know the exact name, but And the police let him stay.
An 80-year-old chained himself outside the White House?
Yep. 80-year-old veteran, Vietnam veteran from Charlottesville. Richard Hobcraft Allen III.
Say that 3 times fast.
I could if you want me to.
I would love to hear you say that 3 times fast without looking at it.
Richard Hobcraft Allen III. Richard Hobcraft Allen III. Richard Hobcraft Allen III.
Very nicely done, Judah Wickow.
The rain in Spain.
He chains himself outside the White House.
Had his hands inside a pipe with a sign that read, "King Trump and President Musk are killing veterans."
Very curious to see what happens to the Musk gallery that opens in Stonefield, guys, and how the community responds to that.
He was protesting cuts to the Department of Veteran Affairs. And there are whispers of I think people planning on protesting the entire Stonefield if Tesla moves in there. But as I think has been noted, it's probably out of management's hands by this point, as there has likely been, a lease already signed.
NBC 29, guys, this from Bill McChesney, has gotten so bad. He says the Newsplex is absolutely eating their lunch. Neither is fantastic. But I will concur with William McChesney that the Newsplex, CBS 19, is putting on a better news product than NBC 29 right now. And woe have the tables have turned, because NBC 29 was the market news leader for generations. Now, gray media owns them, and they have become a shadow of their former selves. Let's get to the lead topic on today's program. Supervisor Ned Galloway on Real Talk with Keith Smith earlier today. I've said on this network that one of the most influential developers in all of Albemarle County is a Fortune 100 company named Home Depot. Home Depot was granted a boatload of tax breaks by Albemarle County. And part of that agreement, where Home Depot gets tax breaks, they own Fashion Square Mall, except for the JCPenney, which is owned by Richard Hewitt, a real estate magnate in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Belk. Belk is owned by their corporate entity. Okay? The rest of Fashion Square Mall is owned by Home Depot. Home Depot gets tax breaks from Albemarle. In exchange for those tax breaks, those tax advantages from Albemarle County, Home Depot is responsible for opening its hardware store before December ends in 2025. They are, according to Ned Galloway, well ahead of that schedule. Home Depot is also responsible for revitalizing the mall and revitalizing the Red Lobster restaurant next to the mall. On Real Talk this morning, Ned Galloway offered some insight into what Home Depot is doing at Fashion Square Mall, including some insight into the timeline of development. Do you have that sound ready to go? Give us that sound. This is Ned Galloway, Rio District Supervisor on the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. His district is right where Fashion Square Mall and Home Depot's project is located within. Ned Galloway in 3, 2, and 1.
Tax. The ones we'll see get online that will make a difference, Fashion Square Mall. If you looked at the assessed value of Fashion Square Mall compared to 10 and 12 years ago, we've lost a ton of revenue as that site has done nothing but decline. Yeah. So we're turning that around right now, right? Home Depot is going to be, I hear they're going to be open by July now, I think somebody said. They have to be open by Christmas of this year based on tax or an incentive that we gave them to help get it built. Good for Albemarle County because it meant that they were going to open sooner. We also got an easement for about, 95% of a road realignment that we're interested in doing behind the mall on Hillsdale Drive. And that would have cost $8, $9, $10 million in today's dollars. Who knows what it would cost in 5 years or 10 years. So when that Home Depot opens, we've got the Public Safety Center over there on the other side that a different owner owns, the old JCPenney site. Belk has got its own little thing. But Home Depot Home Depot will own most of that property. And once they get the box store open, then they have to go, all right, now what are we going to do and redevelop? And if they make some efforts to achieve our small area plan, then you can start to see some mixture of retail and residential. And I hear Home Depot has done some of that in other places. They're not just box store. They do other types of developments.
Ned Galloway, ladies and gentlemen, on Real Talk with Keith Smith this morning, he says, I hear Home Depot open by July.
That's great news.
Great news. He highlighted in the show this morning the impact of having Home Depot and the Fashion Square Mall project finish. This is significant tax revenue that is missing from Albemarle County right now. Significant revenue that's missing right now, having that Fashion Square Mall site be a what? A ghost town, a shanty town? I mean, how do you describe the Fashion Square Mall site as is? Just completely empty?
I mean, you may remember I went and took photos of the mall back when there were still shops there, and it was a ghost town. I can't imagine what it looks like now. Do they even bother to turn the lights on?
Great question. July, ladies and gentlemen. A little piece of fresh news for you that will hit the legacy and media cycles, because I see the legacy and old media watching us right now on the I Love CVille show. This is you can make a convincing argument, one of the most significant development projects in all of Albemarle County, the sixth largest county in the Commonwealth of Virginia. The gateway, maybe the most important gateway in Albemarle County. What would be a more important gateway in Albemarle County than the Rio Small Area Plan, the Rio Road Corridor? Do we make an argument that coming into Pantops is a more significant gateway than Rio? I do not. Do you?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, we saw what happened. We've seen what happens to restaurants that settle at the top of the hill, right?
Lonnie Murray, what's the most significant gateway into Albemarle County? Is it the Rio Gateway? Is it the Ivy Western Gateway that's the most significant? Is it the gateway from Nelson County, Afton into Crozet that's the most significant? Is it Southside Charlottesville Gateway that's the most significant? Fifth Street Station, Avon Extended, that urban ring entry corridor by Mill Creek and Redfields and Mosby Mountain, Lake Renovia, is that the most significant? I am convinced the most significant and noteworthy gateway into Albemarle County, the one of the most prestige and importance, notoriety, most vehicle traffic, most eyeballs, is the Rio Gateway. It's the gateway to UVA in a lot of ways. It's the Forest Lakes Holly Mead Gateway and corridor. There's a boatload of residential housing there. And a Fortune 100 company. I mean, is Home Depot a Fortune 50 company? Home Depot, Fortune, let's see, Fortune 50. They may be even a Fortune 500 company. I'll give you the Fortune 500 right now. Home Depot is... You see if you can figure that one out for me, Jude. I'm getting in the weeds right there. I would say it's at least a Fortune 100. Their project of taking the Red Lobster and the mall and turning into something is one of the most significant development projects we've had in Albemarle County in some time. And that's bananas to stay, because we're entrusting an out-of-market entity that's publicly traded, that does not have ties to our community, to really determine the face or the brand of an entry point to Albemarle. But that's the trust the soups have put into Home Depot. July is the expectation. All right, give me that tidbit once you have it, if you could, Judah.
Home Depot is in the top 50 of the Fortune 500.
It's a Fortune 50 company. A Fortune 50 company right there. James Watson watching the program, his photo on screen. Someone should open a simple sports bar in the old Red Lobster location. Simple concept with screens, burgers, wings, and beers. Plenty of potential customers between Dunlora, Greenbrier, plus all the 29 traffic. That could be an interesting answer for the question that we're going to ask later in the show. What experiential business is missing from Charlottesville and Albemarle County? James says 29 is the most significant. It leads from the airport to D.C. and back. 1,000% agree with James Watson. 99.9% of the time, I find myself in alignment and agreement with James Watson. I sincerely mean that. A smart dude. I sincerely mean that, James. Think about the sports concept, the experiential concept. Now, people are going to say, Jerry. A sports bar is not an experiential concept. But what if the
don't know about
sports bar was combined with sports aspects? Tell me why we don't have a Top Golf in Albemarle County. Why is there no Top Golf concept somewhere in this area with the money and the wealth we have? There's Top Golf everywhere. Why not here? Why does someone not create a sports bar concept with a golf or with ping pong or with darts? You know how much it costs to go bowling? A family of four to bowl 2 rounds, 2 games? We're talking over $100, $150, ladies and gentlemen, depending on the time of day. Dairy Market is trying to get into the experiential concept with the duck pin bowling, Judah, in the old South and Central location. We'll save that topic for later in the show. What experiential concept is missing from the area? There's 3 opening in the next 10 months. Rock Revolution on Old Ivy Road, bouldering and rock climbing. CVille Smash indoor pickleball at the old Marshall's location in Seminole Square. And we also have Coco's Adventure Factory, an indoor adventure entertainment center opening early next year. Next topic I want to cover on the program, Judah B. Wickhauer, Jack of all wits, and I'm very curious of your opinion on this. Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts on this as well. How about the survey results from Albemarle County, Albemarle High School? There's a test period that's going on, and a school board member, Dr. Kate Acuff, highlighted these results. There's a pilot program going on at Albemarle High School, as you get that lower third on screen. A school resource officer. What's another name for a school resource officer, Judah?
SRO.
That's an acronym.
What's another name for them?
Police officer in the school. That's a school resource officer.
Hall monitor.
A police officer in the school. Albemarle High School is doing a pilot program. Listen to the survey results from a 2024 survey that was just released. 800 Albemarle High School students were surveyed. 85% of that 800 students think a police officer in the hallways is a good thing and it makes them feel safe at school. Teachers also equally on board. You have a pilot program at the largest high school in Central Virginia, the school in a lot of ways that has a lot of, Charlottesville High School and Albemarle High School are the 2 schools that have the most, how do I put it in perspective? Challenges. Okay, I'll use the word challenges. 800 kids surveyed, the teachers surveyed, 85% say, please, dear God, give us the police officer in the school. 85%, ladies and gentlemen. It's about darn time we listen to students and teachers who are in the hallways every day, and they're begging us through this survey to bring the officers back to the hallways. You okay, Judah?
Try not to sneeze.
Okay. 85% plus. Why do we not roll this out across all the other schools? I'll catch heat for that. People say pipeline to prison, Jerry. Pipeline to prison. Pipeline to prison. Police officers have no role in schools. I don't buy that. We just had a bomb threat at Burley Middle School this morning.
I wonder if those assertions are manufactured.
Of course it's manufactured. It's manufactured. Is manufactured another name for manipulation?
Possibly.
Abusing the narrative?
I don't know about that.
I mean, the kids and the students want the police in school.
Yeah.
Should we be listening to the kids and the teachers? Or should we be listening to a group of activists that say this is bad, 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 bad?
I would,
85%.
I'm with you. I agree that they're a good thing. I think that, it's better than having to call the cops and
police officers.
Bring them police officers and bring them storming into a school. I think that's far more disruptive than having someone who is actually there on a regular basis, knows the students, knows the teachers. I would like to see proof that that SROs are disruptive or in any way contributing to the supposed pipeline to jail that some people assert is the problem.
Put them in the schools, folks. Let's put them in the schools. Let's get over the situation. I've been here 25 years in August. I've called Charlottesville and Albemarle County my home for 25 years this August. I came here as a first year at the University of Virginia. I've gone from first year student at University of Virginia to married man and father of two and a business owner that's 17 years into his self-employment journey in May of this year. I've grown up in this community. And my entire 25 years in this community, I've never seen the community more fragile when it comes to gun violence than it is right now. We had Albemarle County Commonwealth's Attorney Jim Hingley on the program, last week, the week before? Mr. Hingley's office is transitioning in some parts and putting more of a focus or emphasis on personnel and priorities with gun violence crime. He said that in our interview. Albemarle County, Crozet, Harris Teeter, father killed, retired nurse practitioner killed by a mentally ill, mentally troubled 25, 28-year-old that was known as the gentle giant in the community of Crozet. We have gun violence concerns. And one of the ways to appease or solve or alleviate or manage is by having more eyeballs on site, more boots on the street. And that absolutely includes our schools.
Yeah, it also relieves teachers of being forced to, take on that role, which they really shouldn't have to do.
Kate Schartz, Queen of Ivy, watching the program, her photo on screen. When she leaves a comment, I read it on air immediately. She says, if they don't listen to the survey results, she highlights the fact that Meriwether Lewis Elementary, more than 90% of those that were surveyed, parents, teachers, and others, said keep the name Meriwether, and they did not listen.
Yeah.
I think with school rebranding, it's a fair point that Kate is making. Thank you for making the point, Kate. School rebranding, Superintendent Matthew Haas and the school board ignored survey results.
They did a lot more than that.
When it comes to school resource officers in schools, that's completely different category of ignoring. If you ignore students and teachers when it comes to saying yes to a police officer in the school because of safety concerns, that is malpractice and negligence.
Especially if something eventually happens that could have been prevented by the presence of an SRO.
Bingo. And we've had enough violence in this community, folks. Sandra McDaniel watching the program. I love the idea of the police resource officers in schools. Sandra McDaniel, if you have her photo on screen, I think they contribute a lot to the students and to the schools, leads to a much safer environment. Amen. Georgia Gilmer watching the program. So they can do the opposite of what the police that elected them want. She's highlighting the fact that they ignore, the school board's ignored survey results. School board, learn from your predecessors. They ignored school survey results, school board members, and that type of governance created a sense of lacking trust, disingenuous governance. And that's not what we need right now with this community reeling with vulnerability, whether it's Naeem Hill, whether it's Justin Barber, whether it's a guy that's carrying a knife and stabbing people outside of a church, whether it's the murder of 3 UVA football players on grounds, and the healing that's still being done A11 and A12, post A11 and A12. Elliot Harding watching the program. Love Elliot Harding. Talented defense attorney. Yeah, they don't want a school shooting. Let me get to his comment. Comments are coming in quickly here. It just slid down the page for me. Elliot, I'm going to get to your comment. When he leaves a comment, I read it live on air immediately. Elliot says, yeah, they don't want a school shooting. Every school should have an armed and well-trained officer sitting in a room, buzzing people in and out, just sitting in the lunch area in case there's a fight. The issues come up when they start nitpicking on minor stuff, but generally we need security in schools, responsive versus affirmative policing. Amen, brother.
Yeah, great points.
Fantastic points from Elliot Harding. We got to get him back on the program. 100% agree with that comment. 100% agree. Put the metal detectors at the schools too.
I was just going to mention them.
Why are the metal detectors at athletic events, but they're not at the entry to the schools where there's the most amount of human bodies located? Makes no sense to me. You walk through a metal detector at a football and basketball game, at a baseball game, but you don't walk through a metal detector when you go to schools. It's just idiocy. Idiocy. Next headline. Judah Wickhauer, what do you got?
Next up, we have the UVA Board of Visitors pushing back on tuition increases.
Good. I applaud the Board of Visitors here. Glenn Youngkin
Yeah.
has 13 appointments on the Board of Visitors.
Yeah.
How much longer could the University of Virginia continue to raise tuition on students?
They
You're
were
talking.
going to.
Oh, I know they were going to. The folks that operate the university were saying, we want tuition increases. They're making it with these tuition increases where it's only the 1% that can attend a public university. The flagship university of the Commonwealth is not a university that's intended for only the wealthy. If you want a university that's intended for only the wealthy and for 1% in the Commonwealth of Virginia, University of Richmond's a good one. Great school, University of Richmond. You got to have a boatload of money to get into the University of Richmond. Washington and Lee is another one. Got to have a boatload of money to go to WNL. Hampton-Sydney is another example of a very expensive college to attend, Hampton-Sydney College. Okay? But a public university that relies on funding from the Commonwealth should be a university that opens its doors to the entire socioeconomic student spectrum. And by raising rates to levels that only the wealthy can afford, we are creating an old boys and old gals school of wealth.
And this after Youngkin basically canned the, what was it? He canned the use of, oh, what was it? I'm sorry. My mind is
I
drawing.
have no
a
idea
blank.
what you're saying.
I know. It'll come back to me.
Can the use of what? Diversity, equity, and inclusion?
No, something else. I'm drawing a blank, though.
The University Guide Service?
They were actually, in December, the board actually approved a 3% increase in the base tuition for in and out-of-state undergraduates. Now that the political climate has changed in the Board of Visitors, they're asking for, they want to take a deep dive into the budget numbers and are looking to have cuts in the administrative overhead and freeze tuition.
Here's a tip for the University of Virginia. Unbloat the payroll. Chop the payroll down. Figure out a way to make the school run more efficiently with less administrative bloat. How's that for a solution?
It's always good.
It's not just charge more and more, because the kids you're admitting into the school are just wealthy kids. And if you don't think that has an impact on Charlottesville and Albemarle County, you're not reading the tea leaves correctly. By only admitting wealthy students to the University of Virginia, that means the folks that control the housing, the landlords around the area, can jack up rents to whatever they want because they know the parents of the kids can afford it. And when the landlords around the University of Virginia continue, and I have no problem with jacking up the rent. That's the free market. I'm a landlord. We have 24 tenants. That's the name of the game. But if the University of Virginia is only going to cater to a wealthy student body, that means the landlords can continue charging whatever they want. And that creates rental comps. And those rental comps start dictating the pace and the rents for all of Albemarle and Charlottesville. There's a reason the villas at Southern Ridge was a good chunk of the villas at Southern Ridge. 101 units were purchased by Levy & Co., a real estate company out of Henrico, Virginia. There's a reason Barracks West was purchased by an out-of-market real estate company. There's a reason Cav Crossing was purchased by a Northern Virginia real estate company. We had 3 prominent real estate purchases made within the last 12 months, ladies and gentlemen. And why are these out-of-market companies, ladies and gentlemen, buying Charlottesville and Albemarle County positions? Why did Barracks Weston Apartments and Townhomes, 324 units, why were they purchased for $56,750,000 by Northern Virginia's West End Capital Group in February of 2025? We broke that news here on the I Love CVille show. Why was the villas at Southern Ridge, 101 of 240 units, purchased for $11 million by Henrico County's Levy and Company in November of 2024? We broke that news on the I Love CVille show. And why was Cavalier Crossing, all 144 units, purchased for $20,500,000 by Bonaventure Multifamily Income Trust out of Northern Virginia? News broken by CVille tomorrow. Because these out-of-market companies know that the University of Virginia is choosing a student body of one percenters. Why is National Development Company Subtext building 1,300 plus beds on Stadium Road? Because they know the University of Virginia is only admitting wealthy one percenters. Why is Graystar building 500 units down Ivy Road by St. Anne's Belfield and across from Bel Air, the neighborhood? Because they know the University of Virginia is admitting wealthy students. It's a tremendous ripple effect by only having the one percenters here in Charlottesville with Mercedes and BMWs and mommy and daddy's black Amex. I salute the Board of Visitors. This is not about politics. This is not about conservatism, liberalism. This is not about Youngkin. But since Youngkin's had 13 of 17 appointments on the Board of Visitors, we've seen a lot of changes at the University of Virginia.
Yeah.
We saw a significant investigation that led to the surprise resignation of CEO Craig Kent, the head of the UVA health system.
Yeah.
We saw an investigative report that still the community hasn't seen when it's tied to the triple murder of 3 Virginia football players. We saw an investigation that's currently happening right now with the pro-Palestine pepper spraying protest in May of last year. This Board of Visitors does not mess around. And this Board of Visitors' vision for the university is extremely different than the vision of the head honchos of the University of Virginia. That's why you saw the Jim Ryan's lieutenant, the provost of UVA, just leave for, is it Middlebury College? Is that the one in Vermont? You helping me with that, Judah? Is Middlebury in Vermont? Right. Middlebury College in Middlebury, Vermont. He goes and takes that job. This guy leaves the number 2 position at the University of Virginia to go be the president at Middlebury College in Vermont, where it's single digits on a nice day.
Oh, come on.
Is the president of Middlebury College a vertical move versus provost at the University of Virginia? A genuine question for you.
With everything going on at UVA right now, I would think just about anything is a step up.
Here's the extremely interesting thing. Ian Balcom is going to be the president of Middlebury College, right? Mm-hmm. If you were to Google UVA provost office, Ian Balcom's name shows up on the Google rank for provost at the University of Virginia. Here's a tip, UVA. And Judah and I do this. Our firm does this professionally for a living here. Work with your keywords and your metadata and how you are coding and managing the back of end of your website. So Ian Balcom is not showing up when you Google Provost UVA because he's now the president of Middlebury College. This is where Judah's going to say, oh, it takes a while for Google to crawl websites and make this metadata change. That's what you're going to say, right?
It's the truth.
It's been a while. If you click Ian Balcom's page here, it goes to a page request could not be found. Is that a 404?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Is that a vertical move going from executive vice president and provost to president of Middlebury College? Or is that a lateral move at best? Is that Ian reading the tea leaves saying, this Board of Visitors is going to be here for a while. I need to get the hell out of Dodge before they push me out of Dodge? That's a question for the viewer and listener. Cocktail fodder for your cocktail party.
Yeah.
Jerry from John Blair, his photo on screen. As to the experiential opportunities, are there any nightclubs for dancing? It's really strange for an area the size of Charlottesville not to have a true nightclub. Lonnie Murray's photo on screen.
I don't think we have him.
Lonnie Murray says, we got to get Lonnie Murray on the ranking there. He's a very influential viewer and listener whose opinion I respect. He says, I'd like to see a guide service that takes people on outdoor adventures. That's a great idea, Lonnie.
There's a lot that Charlottesville is like.
That is a genius idea, Lonnie Murray. An omni-experiential business where it's a guide service that they can lead hiking like Walnut Creek or Crabtree Falls or Biscuit Run or lead mountain biking jaunts on O Hill or Pretty Creek. Is there a spot? This is a genuine business for the viewers and listeners. This is why people pay us $2.95 an hour to come to this office, to sit at our desk and pick our brains on how they could gain market share or launch brands, figure out spaces for them to grow their businesses into, acquire real estate, get funding to grow their business. This is what we do. It is not podcasting. We enjoy doing this, creates deal flow, but this is not in the top 5 of what we do. What we do is help businesses gain share from competitors and grow. Is there a spot where my family or me and my friends can go to a location and get intel, maps, or have an individual that's an expert lead us on a hiking excursion of Crabtree Falls or a mountain biking trip at O Hill or Pretty Creek or Walnut Creek or Ragged Branch? Is there an outdoor business service guide that you can go somewhere and someone at a location will give you insight and expertise into the area?
It's a good
Why
question.
does that business not exist? With the mountain biking trails that are out there, the hiking trails that are out there, the water that's around the area. Is that your next omni-experiential business for this area? Think about the little overhead you need to operate that business. People are like, how's this business successful? You want to know how this business is successful? I'm going to explain to viewers and listeners how the Miller organization is successful. Well, we own the real estate our business is in, so we're paying rent to our real estate company. Our overhead is human labor. That guy right there, extremely expensive. You're looking at it on screen. Well-deserved. You're a talented individual. Expensive, but talented. Our overhead is labor. We're not selling widgets. Mm-hmm. We're not selling burgers or steaks or shrimp or scampi. I'm not selling stuff on a shelf. I'm not selling cars. We get mailbox money from 24 tenants on the first of the month. Percentage of the deals that we put together, and we charge an hourly rate that justifies our talent. That's a company. This outdoor company can do a similar thing. They don't even need to stock the bikes, Judah. And if they did stock the bikes...
Why wouldn't they need to stock the bikes?
Because people have mountain bikes.
Some people.
If they want to go on a mountain biking excursion, they can do as an additional profit center, rent the bike for $100 a day from the company. They can spend $1,500 on the bike, $2,000 on the Trek, $2,500 on the Specialized, or whatever the hell these mountain bikes cost. How much is a 29-inch? It's got to be a 29-inch tire because those are easier to navigate. Wouldn't you say, Curtis Shaver? It's got to be a 29-inch tire. How much is a 29er Trek run these days? Couple grand? You buy a Trek for a couple grand and you rent it out for $100 a day for the people who need it? You take one of your guides and do a hiking excursion or a mountain biking excursion? Will you end it with beers at a brewery or wine at a winery? You just don't need a lot of overhead to run this business. They all sign waivers that there's no liability tied to the business.
Boar's Head actually has some of this.
Our son is doing one of these this summer at the Boar's Head Adventure Center, Boar's Head Outdoors.
Nice.
The Outdoor Outfitters. He's doing an outdoor camp.
That's cool.
with these folks. But that's not open to the public. And you know how much that outdoor camp is for a week?
I
My
don't want to know.
credit card literally just got billed for that. I can tell you right now. $500.
Yeesh.
A 6-year-old. An outdoor camp for the week. $500. Yesterday when we were talking with Dr. Daniel Halpert, which lower third do you have on screen? The lower third you should have on screen right now is experiential business ideas for the CVille area. That's the one you have? Excellent work. Yesterday when we were talking with Daniel Halpert, the doctor, about Coco's Adventure Park, he was talking about, you know how much it costs to have a birthday for kids? And I was like, well, surprisingly, I do. My 6-year-old is turning 7 on the 20th of March. And he had 2 options for his birthday. He made a grown-up decision. My wife and I said, we can have a birthday for you and 19 of your closest friends, 20 kids, and we can do the Nerf gun.
Closest.
The Nerf gun battle. It's his class. We can do a Nerf gun battle where they shoot Nerf gun darts at each other for 90 minutes and then go have a birthday party in a room for 30 minutes where we celebrate you and eat cake. The cost to my wife and I for that 2-hour period, $700. $700.
Wouldn't it be cheaper just to buy your own guns?
Then where are you going to do it if you buy your own guns? Through the mail slot, yeah. Where are you're going to buy 20 Nerf guns?
Park?
How much? That's perfect. If you want to just leave it right there, yeah. Thank you. If you're going to buy 20 Nerf guns, how much 20 Nerf guns cost?
Less than $700.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. 20 Nerf guns. I would say those are $40 a piece. That's $800. How much do you think 20 Nerf guns cost? 20. Let's go. Nerf gun. What am I even looking for? Shooters. Nerf gun shooters. $15, $18 a shooter, and these are the piece of crap ones. They're easily $20 a shooter. The ones they have are like the big super soaker type shooters that look super cool and fire the Nerf dart like 30 yards.
I mean, I'm seeing Nerf shooters for $15, $20.
Okay, I just said $20. 20.
That's for the big one.
Okay, so let's go 20.
15.
All right, can we go 20?
8 for a handgun one?
Okay, so 20 times 20.
It's
$400.
I know.
Okay, so $400, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you get the biggest ones.
Then you get, how much is the cake going to cost?
I can't remember the last
I'd say
time I
a
bought
cake is $50. There's $450, right? Where are you going to do it?
Park.
Okay, let's say you do it.
Backyard. You got a giant backyard.
We have 4 acres. At minimum, if you do it in the way you're talking, it's $450.
But you can do that every year.
For $450. We're going to store the Nerf guns?
Well, what are you going to do? Throw them away when you're done with a day of using them?
$450 versus $700, and they do it all for you. And you do absolutely nothing. And it's a controlled environment. You have a party room, and you don't have to have 20 Rugrats at your house.
You've got an adult decision.
This is called
you've got an adult decision to make.
Value proposition. My point is this. Our son said, I'm going to pass on that opportunity. Instead, I want you to have a day that's all about me with grandma and grandpa coming. Mom and dad spoil us. I want to go to my favorite place. He loves the pretzels at Mellow Mushroom. Nice. He wants Pokemon graded Charizards, which I'm on the hunt for a graded Pokemon Charizard now. I had to go to Richmond for one. I now have to get him another one. Jim Hingley offering some perspective here. Thank you, Jim Hingley. I sincerely appreciate you. He says, Ian Balcom takes office at Middlebury on the 1st of July, according to the Middlebury website. He stepped down at UVA this month, but it does take some time to reflect this on the website. And he agrees with you, Jude, on this, that it takes... Judo is right, Jim. You're 100% right. It takes a while for Google to update the metadata on a website. This is the business literally that we're in. We're going through this right now. Are we not? We don't have to say that.
It can take weeks.
We don't have to say the development firm that we're about.
It can take weeks, and it's...
we're literally doing this with the developer right now.
You're at Google's mercies because sometimes it's got everything that it's supposed to have, and it still hasn't changed anything.
Yeah, right. It's literally can take a long time. So to Jim Hinchley's point, to Judah Wickar's point, you're right. It could take a while. Mm-hmm. I do find it odd that Ian Balcom is still on the university website.
Is he still on the website, though?
He's.
You found a 404 page.
It's the metadata. You're right. The bio's been taken down. But the Google crawl hasn't completely removed him from search.
Right.
It shows you the value. This is what we're talking about with the developer. It shows you the value of the search ranking. Mm-hmm. Right there. I still am of the mindset that he leaves as provost and executive vice president of one of the most noteworthy universities in the world because he sees that the politics of the Board of Visitors is changing and he's very much in the crossfire. Like, what's Balcom's job security if Jim Ryan gets bounced?
He's probably also, if he doesn't already have a head full of gray hairs, he's probably producing them at a higher than standard rate.
I got a head full of gray hairs just from talking about the craziness around UVA.
I know.
Imagine being the executive.
Look at this.
I know, me too. Imagine being the executive vice president who has to manage the craziness at UVA. We're just talking about it and we're getting gray hairs. Isn't it weird? The older you get, the less hair you have on your head and the more hair you have in your nose, your back, and in your ears. Is that God playing a weird trick on us? You're going to get older, the hair's going to go away from your head, and it's going to go inside your ears, inside your nose, and on your back.
It's going to disappear from where you want it and appear everywhere else.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Exactly.
I think it's to keep us humble.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. Jeez Louise.
My dad's got a great poem about that.
A great poem about nose hair?
About staying humble.
Oh. That was a poem
as
about
you age.
Nose hair.
No.
Oh, Lonnie Murray. Lonnie, we need to get Lonnie Murray's photo for the screen. He says, I imagine cross-marketing with other tourism opportunities so you spend one day at Monticello, go kayaking the next day, then go on a rock climbing. Go to Market Street Cam. There's Rob Stockhausen. He's looking for the spectacle shop, I believe, over here. One of the most noteworthy commercial brokers in the area. Do we see him?
Pounding on the door over there?
Is he pounding on the door?
No. He hasn't reappeared. I'm wondering what he's up to.
That's not him.
Oh, there he goes.
We're stopped.
They can see him in the left hand side of the screen.
A talented pickleball player, Rob Stockhausen, one of the most noteworthy commercial brokers in the area, right outside the I Love CVille studio. There he is right there. Always dressed well. He's got some Ray-Bans on. Look at him, dressing well. He's a great pickleball player.
I think you might find the glasses shop.
Yeah, he's looking for the spectacle shop. It happens all the time. This is another example of Google mismanagement. This is literally part of what our firm does, is provide strategies of how you can gain market share. One of the strategies you should realize is the importance of Google. The Spectacle Shop, which I love, owned by John Bright, friend of the program. It's got a pin on Google Maps that is not on its exact location. And Judah and I probably see a dozen times a week people going, 50 feet in the wrong direction of the Spectacle Shop?
Oh,
They come into here and say, can I buy some Ray-Bans? I'm like, dude, do you see any Dolce & Gabbana and Versace frames in here? Do you see any Revo or Ray-Bans in here? All we got is Judah. We don't have any.
Nice to meet you, man. Yeah, it's wild. We've had people come in here from like companies that were looking for, I don't know if it was water lines or power line, I don't know. But anyways, they're like, well, it says here that the such and such for this building is, and we're like, no, sorry. But I think that goes more to show that Google is not all powerful. And
no, Google is only as good as the user. Google is all powerful. You just have to use it the right way.
You were just talking about how Google is wrong in a lot of places.
But with this particular map issue, they could change the map and eventually it would be updated.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually. They just haven't done it. This has been going on for years. years we've seen these people come in here.
We have one of our properties that has the pin like around the corner.
Which one is that?
I don't remember which one.
What? I didn't know this. Which one is that?
I don't remember.
We have one of our properties not pinned correctly on the map?
I'm pretty sure.
You haven't fixed that?
I don't know that it's necessarily like one of ours. I just mean like something from
I didn't know that.
The Macklin building is pinging like right around the corner.
Okay, well, that's news to me. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will take a look at that after the show. All right, it's 1:40. We got to go make some money here. What other topics that we have on the program here? Do you know why there's been so much turnover at the 10th Street shops at Shannon Worrell's development? Do we straight up attribute it to parking, Judah? Peloton Station is Guajiros. Dude, Mudhouse can't make it over there.
You're what?
Mudhouse could not make it over there. That's damning that Mudhouse, a beloved brand, could not make it there. Why so much turnover at the 10th Street shops?
I think Charlottesville is just an odd place. I've said this before. So much of Charlottesville does not make sense to me. And it just doesn't feel, I don't know, cohesive, maybe?
Okay, succinct answer here.
That was cohesive. I mean, succinct.
You're saying that 10th Street shops are not making it because Charlottesville's not cohesive?
Yeah.
How about this for a succinct answer?
I've been there.
The 10th Street shops aren't making it because there's not enough parking at the 10th Street shops.
Maybe. I don't know that I agree with that.
You don't agree with that? Viewers and listeners, do you agree with that? Georgia Gilmer absolutely attributes it to parking. It's still, no matter what livable Charlottesville wants to do, no matter what the Gillikin gang wants to do, it's still a vehicle, automobile, car, and truck-centric community.
Oh, 100%.
If
Charlottesville
you can't,
is terrible for walking and biking.
Exactly. Okay? It's as clear as day to me. You've had Mudhouse, you've had a bread company, you've had a bakery, you've had a restaurant, all turnover there. All turnover. Kate, people are boycotting Stonefield because of the Tesla Elon Musk gallery that is coming. Kate asked that question.
It hasn't even arrived yet, and it's already begun.
Doesn't it get exhausting having all these boycotts and all this? I'm not going to support.
I imagine it must get exhausting.
Isn't it exhausting?
Angry
doing all this protesting? And doesn't it make you so bitter and angry, all this boycotting and protesting? Don't you get
angry and hateful? I can't imagine.
Do you just want to not sit on the recliner and kick your feet up and drink an Emperor of Clouds and eat a steak and cheese from Bagby's while watching 1923 season 2 on Paramount Plus? I mean, that's what I would do. Jeez Louise. All right, we're 70 minutes in here without stopping. We got to make some money here. Any other topics we got here? What's the next shopping and dining district that's going to boom? You put that on screen?
What shopping and dining district will boom next?
All right, friend of the program, Terry Hinderman, the mayor of Fry Springs. He's got a touch of a jeweler on a double squash court, and he owns a fair amount of real estate in this community. I love you, Terry Hinderman. I hope people that listen to this show pass this message on to you. I love you, Terry Hinderman, the mayor of Fry Springs. He owns Fry Springs Station, the real estate where Pie Napo Pizza is, and he owns the Maury Avenue Shopping Center where the donut shop is and the bike shop where Anna's Pizza used to be. I am going to make a prediction. The next shopping and dining district that's going to boom is that entire JPA Fry Springs corridor. When the biotech research park is finished, funded by $100 million from billionaire Paul Manning, the father-in-law of Chris Henry, the developer behind Stony Point and Dairy Market. Once the biotech school at Fontaine is finished, you're going to have an additional few thousand people working there at high dollar salaries. Fry Springs, the neighborhood, is gentrified big time over the 25 years I've been here, and it is a neighborhood of the wealthy, all within walking distance here. I predict that Fry Springs quarter is going to have massive success. Massive success as a shopping and dining district.
I can see that.
Massive success. Two more headlines. Ryan Odom is scuttlebutted as the next head coach of UVA. This guy was a ball boy at the University of Virginia because his father, Dave Odom, was an assistant coach under Terry Holland, the head coach of the men's basketball team at one time. So the guy who is front and center as the replacement for Ron Sanchez and Tony Bennett is the current head coach of VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University. His name is Ryan Odom. This could be a full circle moment, as Elliot Harding said yesterday. He goes from adolescent ball boy at University Hall, his dad an assistant coach on the staff, to head coach of the team. Haters or naysayers are pointing to the fact that Ryan Odom only has one NCAA tournament win, and that was when he was the head coach of UMBC. And UMBC beat whom, Judah? Beat which team?
UVA?
UVA. And the greatest upset in NCAA March Madness history.
Really?
Folks are saying we're hiring a guy that's only got one tournament win on his resume.
But it's a banger.
It is a banger. It's an absolute banger. Unfortunately, it's a banger. You're absolutely right. Great use of the word banger. And we'll close the program with some love for Belle Dalton. She is playing the St. Anne's Belfield student, the MacArthur Squash Center talent, one of the best players under friend of the program, Stephen O'Dwyer's squash program. Belle Dalton is playing in the U.S. Squash Championship in Philadelphia, I believe, as we speak. Nothing but love and the best of luck for Belle Dalton. She is a baller. She's a scrapper. She's competitive. Her photo on screen, she is a fighter. She has hustle. She has chutzpah. She has grit. She hits clean lines and clean rails. It's a beautiful squash ball. And she is just a competitor of significant talents. Wish her the best of luck as we champion and celebrate anyone from the Charlottesville area that's doing something on a national stage that's positive for our community. I thought Judah Wickower was on point today. My name is Jerry Miller, and that's 75 minutes of the water cooler of Charlottesville in Central Virginia, and it's called the I Love CVille Show. So long, everybody.